Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening gathering hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us. To live by. Please be seated. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't require that you adhere to one specific creed or common religious belief or practice, but rather we are a covenant community, committed to loving and supporting each other in our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of personal faith. So whoever you are, member, guest, or friend, and for whatever reason or purpose guided you to join us here today, either online or in person, we welcome you. My name is Dave Yelton. I'm the worship coordinator for today's service, and I need to thank and want to thank everyone who is responsible for this worship experience together. First, I'd like to thank our pianist and musical director, Aviva Enoch. Thanks to Lori Drostick, who will be our reader today. And to the mother-daughter duo of Lori Etter and Caroline Welty, who will be providing some special offertory music. Also, Diana Phillips, it will be our listening ear. And Sue Libermento and A.C. Tharrington for faithfully producing and distributing our printed order of service. And I extend a special welcome and thank you to our guest speaker today, Kay Stagner, who is the manager of client services for Orange Congregations in Mission, more readily referred to in these parts as OCIM. This is a job she has learned from and nurtured for 25 years. Wow. A little about Kay's background for those of you who don't know her, and even for those of us who thought we knew her. Anyway, Kay grew up in Hillsborough. She was raised in an environment of political activism. She was a young Democrat, plus environmentalism in the early years of the Eno River Association, and in her religious faith at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, where she says that for many of those who now rest in peace in the churchyard, cemetery, or memorial garden, she remembers those people filling the pews and the choir stall as she grew up there. Indeed, it's clear that Kay's roots, memories, and love for this community run very deep. After college, she says she spent 9 years of adventure in Colorado, perhaps subject for a chat over coffee after the service, and she returned to Hillsborough with her husband, Kurt, and their first daughter. A second daughter and a myriad of cats have joined the family since that time. Later in the service, I'll share a bit more about what Kay says guides her in her life and her work. So Kay, we welcome you. We look forward to your message to us of love, support, and hope for this community. Before we create our time for worship, let's take a moment to share any important announcements for our community. First, though, it's really good to check your cell phone Make sure it is off or silenced. And check to see that your mask is in place. Yes, we are still following Orange County guidelines for wearing masks inside, since we're still in the orange or red hot zone. And I wanted to mention a new masking policy that has been approved by our MNCO, which is for the main speaker, that would be Kay today. Masking policies do not apply while she's here speaking if she has tested negative in the this morning or last night for COVID, and she did. So we will get to see Kay in her full facial expression. Not me, but her, that's right. Oh, speaking of me, I did that COVID 2 weeks ago, and I finally tested negative 2 days ago, but I didn't have any symptoms for the last 8 days. So it was an experience, but it was like a mild head cold. So I was very pleased to be able to come back today. And we do have coffee after the service today. Be served inside, but it's such a nice day outside. I assume everybody will take advantage of going outside and continuing our conversations. Last reminder before we have other announcements. It was in the e-news this week, a continuing stress for restocking the OCIM food pantry. We had with inflation and needs this summer, we've been really emphasizing that, and there are baskets filling up out here. We'll take this load over there this week. So again, just a reminder for our OCIM food pantry collections, and each week or two, we hope somebody will be bringing in a supply to help fill our basket. So are there any more announcements for the good of our congregation? If you have an announcement to share, please come to the side microphone, speak loudly through your mask, and share your information.
I'm Aviva. I just wanted to say that the Songbirds are going to be meeting tonight at 7 in the sanctuary. You are welcome to join us if you enjoy singing. We meet once a month on the second Sunday of each month, and we will be practicing a song that we'll be singing at the in-gathering. So anybody is welcome to join us here tonight at 7.
Hi, I'm Lori Drosdick. I started this some months ago. It's changed a bit. So I have somebody who ships a lot of stuff. They will reuse packing material instead of throwing it in the trash or recycling, which takes a lot of effort. So it's got to be clean packing materials, totally clean, either the air pockets, bubble wrap, or the brown craft paper. And no peanuts, no packing peanuts, no cardboard, no like shipping boxes and product boxes. And so it was in a blue bin outside. It's just rain caused so many problems. So I have a new one. It's a black round one in the library behind the kitchen. It's a little sign on it to remind you what can and cannot go in there. And if you have a lot of stuff, you can just hand it directly to me and in a bag or something like that, and I'll take it because that's just a standard garbage can. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Sherry. I'm just representing RE today. So the children's RE is looking for 2 to 3 assistants. If anybody is interested, if we can get 2 or 3, then we would just need help once a month from those folks. The reason that we have such a great need is that we finally have enough kids to do OWL again. We have 10, maybe 11 kids, which is amazing. We haven't had that kind of interest in middle school OWL in a long time. So it unfortunately requires incredibly intensive amount of volunteers because Tim and I, which are the primary teachers, are related. We have to have at least one other person in the room for our child safety policy. And then there are several sessions where we need multiple same-sex adults in the room. So anyway, if you feel like you can do that, just let me know, Aurora know, and we'll help you get plugged into the background check so that you could help us. Thank you.
I'm Diana Phillips, and I'm the listening ear today. If you have anything you want to ask or talk about, you'll find me out by the coffee.
Hi, I'm Alicia Bolkheimer, and I'm gonna move that up a little. And I need to announce or remind you that there will be a listening session regarding the events of the CAL. If you have things that you want to talk about with others, the UUA is helping us facilitate a listening session. It will be by Zoom on the 22nd in the evening. So I just wanted to announce that. If it hasn't, sorry, I was late. I don't know if someone already announced it. And also, number 2, I'm planning to hold a session for information about the contract minister. I haven't set a time to do that yet, so if you're very interested in, let me know what time is good for you. Maybe after service next week or something like that. Just to give you some information. That was supposed to be at the CAL, but we didn't quite get to it at the CAL, so we don't want to make you wait until the next CAL to hear about that. So I'll be facilitating that as well. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam, the program admin. It's nice to be here with you all this Sunday. We have a couple of things that we're working on, including some things with the streaming policies, getting the new directory up and running. So we have a member survey that we would like members to fill out, just stuff about the directory, asking some questions about the streaming process. The link for that is in the e-news. As well, we have the summer workday coming up at the end of the month. If you have any requests or suggestions for work you would like to see done in the building, on the grounds, etc., there's a request form also in the e-news, and we're going to compile that into some actionable tasks for people to sign up for. So both of those links are in the e-news. I just wanted to announce them.
So now, if there are no more announcements, let's prepare ourselves for worship. We'll begin with the lighting of the chalice, our time-honored symbol of light and loving warmth of our community of faith. Infinite Possibilities of Love by Tom Goldsmith. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love.
Hello again. The title of this is not quite right in that order of service. So it's Giving Thanks and Exploring Suffering by Mike Johnson. This is the opening words. It is always good to give thanks. All that we have is a gift from life. Our food, our relationships, our shelter from the cold. And when we give thanks, it is good to be mindful of all people and notice those who are in need and do what we can to ease suffering and change its causes. Today we give thanks and we explore suffering. We must always do both together so that our hearts remain strong and resilient for the journey. Please, we're going to sing a song. I don't have it up here. What number is it? Please, 1010 in the blue book. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Oh,
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have taken place this week among our members and friends. Share aloud, while others choose to remain silent. We make room for both. For those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin, center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. me, come to me. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken. By remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Let us close together with Amen and blessed be. Amen and blessed be. Now we get to sing our children to class. We have class today. Just use the children's blessing located in the back cover of your hymnal, gray hymnal. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart full love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart full love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As I mentioned earlier, activism has always been part of Kay Stagner's life, from her earliest years growing up in Hillsborough to her current career and position at OCIM. She's not just recognized as a speaker about values and causes that she believes in, she is at her core a doer. And Kay says there are two simple truths that guide her personal and professional life and actions. One, there but for the grace of God go I. And two, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Or perhaps stated another way, love your neighbor as yourself. One might be tempted to say, to ask the question, well, who is our neighbor? Define neighbor. Well, that automatically triggers my mind to an event recorded in the New Testament when the young Jewish spiritual teacher Jesus of Nazareth was asked by a man in the crowd exactly that question. What does love your neighbor mean? What is neighbor? Well, Jesus didn't answer that question directly, but rather with a teaching story, his favorite way of getting the message across, a parable. And of course, I'm speaking here of the parable of the Good Samaritan. Without reading the whole parable here, I think we can just cut to the chase and summarize that he defined our neighbor to be any person that we come in contact with or become aware of, no matter what their cultural identity, their religious faith, their social or economic status, their racial or ethnic background. And I think we could surely expand that in a more modern sense to include sexual orientation or gender identity. And that surely seems to be the guiding principle for OCIM and our speaker today, that for whoever is in need in Northern Orange County, there are no restrictive screenings based on any of these filters, personal connections, background, race, etc., in order to receive support and services from OCIM. So this is a perfect example of loving your neighbor as yourself. So with that, I'll turn the program over to Kay and her OCIM story and her message of walk in partnership. Kay.
It's always nice. So, good morning. I'm very happy to be here to introduce Orange Congregations and Mission to those of you who may not be familiar and to update those of you who do know us. David told me that this month the focus is on resilience. And to me, resilience means being flexible and able to adapt to changes as they happen, to keep on trucking even when it's hard. At OCIM, we are resilient. We are also dependable. We are present each day, making sure that help is available to those of us facing hardships and poverty, providing resources to aid in the resilience of those who are struggling. I've been with OCIM for 25 years. I've seen changes over the years, but I'm also reminded of my mother's theory on aging. People don't change as they age, they just get more so. The same theory can be said for why people need help. The reasons haven't changed, they've just become more so. More people, more expenses, and I dare say more jobs, but not exactly more income or benefits. So, business first. OCIM began in 1981 when 3 Hillsborough pastors got together and decided there needed to be an organized outreach to minister to the people in Hillsborough and the rural areas of northern Orange County. Since then, OCIM has learned and grown. There's currently a membership of about 50 congregations. Each congregation is able to have 3 representatives, the pastor and 2 delegates. The delegates are chosen by each congregation to represent them, to be the contact by which OCIM provides information back to the congregation. Pre-pandemic, OCIM held an annual membership meeting where pastors and delegates vote to approve budget and install new board members. And once it becomes safe to gather again, the annual meetings will be reinstated. So historically, society has depended on the church to feed the hungry and clothe the naked. The Northern Orange County faith community, through its relationship with OCIM, can leverage resources through federal, state, county, and city funding, thus helping far more people than the congregations alone could. The old saying, "It takes a village to raise a child," is very true. It takes all of us walking in partnership to meet the needs of the poor. So what does OCIM do? Well, we have 3 programs. We have the Thrift Shop, Meals on Wheels, and Samaritan Relief Ministry. The Thrift Shop is OCIM's year-round fundraiser. It's open to absolutely anyone. It's a place for those with very limited income to be able to purchase needed items like clothing, dishes, pots, and pans. There really is something for everyone. There are books, movies, music, toys, jewelry, luggage, purses, bedding, towels. My daughter has a lifetime supply of cosplay items, and at least half of my clothes come from there. Not today, though. The thrift shop has a very small staff and relies on volunteers for much of the tasks of keeping the shop restocked and organized. Meals on Wheels speaks for itself. A nutritious lunch is delivered Monday through Friday by volunteers. Those who are mobile deliver to those who've lost their mobility. There are currently 5 routes, each one taking about an hour to deliver. This is and I did not mean this as a pun, but this is a very volunteer-driven program. There are about 50 active volunteers, and there is room for more. Some people volunteer once a month, some weekly, and some as substitutes when they are able. The people our Meals on Wheels program serve are the frail and elderly of our community, people who are unable to prepare a nutritious meal for themselves and don't have anyone home during the day to do that for them. There's a woman who's been receiving Meals on Wheels for several years. She has a very limited support network, but is absolutely determined to stay in her home. I think you know who I'm talking about. She has significant health issues that have put her in the hospital on several occasions and into rehab for a short while. She was still able to get back home. She currently has in-home care for a few hours a day, but lunchtime is dependent on Meals on Wheels. In the past, we had a man with dementia who was living in a senior apartment. Because of his dementia and his diabetes, the family could not allow him to have a supply of food in his kitchen because he would eat it all at one time. The nutritious, portion-controlled meals delivered daily was the perfect solution. Eventually, he was unable to live independently, but for a while, Meals on Wheels played a significant role in helping him maintain a level of independence. The Samaritan Relief Ministry has a food pantry and a financial assistance program. The pantry is very dependent on the community. Those who have abundance share with those who have need. And abundance looks different for everyone. Right now, abundance looks like zucchini, cucumbers, and tomatoes. It looks like a can or a case of soup to church, or a bag of food left for a neighborhood porch pickup, or a coupon shopper sharing their thrill of the hunt. Weaver Street Market's Roundup program buys produce, butter, and cheese. Food Lion Excess provides a daily produce delivery. All of us, walking in partnership, create enough to feed those in need. The pantry is a referral-based program, and the majority of the referrals come from Orange County Department of Social Services. We also get referrals from Orange County Health Department's WIC program and Family Success Alliance, doctors' offices, mental health programs, and pastors of OCIM congregations. We are able to provide a week's worth of groceries, a maximum of 8 times a year, but there is always grace if there is need. Food allergies, diabetic, low-sodium diets are always considered. Besides food, the pantry has personal care items, pet food, diapers, baby formula, blankets, sleeping bags, winter coats, hats, gloves, socks. Those are things that, people don't need to go and purchase at the thrift shop. We have new ones. Financial assistance is given for rent, utility, and pharmacy. The application process for this assistance is direct communication between me and the person needing the help. They can call or email my office, provide documentation, and we help as generously as we are able. This part of the Samaritan Relief Ministry also depends on shared abundance. The past couple of years has seen an increase in requests for financial assistance. So many people who have themselves had COVID or their kids have been sick are missing work for 1 or 2 weeks at a time. The folks I see usually don't have sick time or PTO that they can use. This reminds me of when I first started working at OCIM 25 years ago. The same thing happened when kids got chicken pox. Depending on how many kids were in the family that got the chicken pox determined on how many weeks the parents, almost always the moms, were out of work. Once it became standard practice for kids to have the chicken pox vaccine, that problem disappeared until now. All of this to say, for many of the people we help, disaster is one missed paycheck away. I frequently see people whose only income is Social Security or Social Security disability. In many cases, incomes are no longer meeting expenses. It's not unusual for an apartment in Hillsborough to be the $1,200 to $1,500 a month range. With the housing market blowing up, I've been seeing people lose their homes when the property owners they have been renting from decide to either raise the rent significantly or sell the house. The renters then find themselves with nowhere to go. They end up living in their car, scraping together money to stay at a hotel, or couch surfing between friends and family. Waiting lists for affordable housing and subsidized apartments are very long. I would like to reiterate how vital volunteers are to OCIM's ability to provide its service. Thrift shop volunteers sort and shelve books, movies, and music. There is a constant demand for hanging clothes in proper places, generally keeping the shop tidy and organized. Thrift shop volunteer opportunities are flexible throughout the week and can fit a variety of schedules. Meals on Wheels volunteers drive, deliver, and observe. There have been times when folks begin volunteering with a sense of, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. After the first time or two of driving, the incentive changes to, wow, this makes me feel good. It is also a great way for people to see parts of rural Orange County that they've never had reason to go look at before. It's a beautiful county. Meals on Wheels delivers Monday through Friday at about 11 o'clock. Pantry volunteers find satisfaction in a variety of ways. The enjoyment of working with purpose with other like-minded people, organizing to your heart's content, and directly touching the lives of people who are facing frustration and hardship, yet with much gratitude. The pantry has morning and afternoon shifts. If time is not an option, abundance is always acceptable. It's so easy to get wrapped up in our own worries, our own hard-won comfort. Sometimes it takes an intentional effort to do and give, to walk in partnership with intentional abundance and love. Short and sweet.
Thank you so much, Kate. Inspiring and informational, and I think stirring us to further action. At this time on Sundays, we take a monetary offering which goes to support our social justice work in the community. This month, as it so happens, our entire collection plate goes to OCIM. You may donate by putting cash in the cash or checks in the offering plate. If by check, please write in the word plate in the memo line. Or if you can go online to our website, uuchnc.org, and click on the donate button. Or some of you may prefer to use the QR code printed in your order of service. Now for our offertory music. Please join me in our prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow, a nobler world that we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and puts us on our way. We would be one in living for each other, with love and justice trying to make us free.
This is called Loving and Responsible Action by Robert F. Kaufman. We have come together today, have shared our deepest concerns, speaking and singing words of inspiration and hope. We have committed ourselves to do what we can to ease the burdens of those who suffer, to stand for decency and compassion. But these are just words. The hymns we sing are just songs. All our reflections are just thoughts. When we convert them all into loving and responsible action throughout the week and throughout our community and our world, then and only then will this morning what it should be, a time of true worship and true commitment. Amen and blessed be.
Please join me as we extinguish our sacred chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.